two inequalities. And this one does not have an equal sign under it, so we know it's going to be a dashed line, and we know the second one will be a solid line. So we'll start graphing with the first one. So I'm going to start at +3, and then the slope is 1, so I'm just going to go up 1, over 1, and you could also do a double negative, go down and left. Okay, we'll make a dashed line. And please try to extend those lines out like I did. Don't make them very short. Okay, extend them out. And then here, this will be shaded below the line since it's less than. And then when I graph the other one, I'm going to start at -2. I'm going to go up 4. And then to the left 1. And this one is a solid line because of the equal sign. And this is shaded above the line. So I already know it's no sense in me shading up here, you know, because I can tell that the two are going to overlap right here where you see the two different colors. So if you're just using a pencil, then you just want to make sure when you see my two colors that that part is a lot darker than the rest. And a lot of people don't even like shade them until they can actually get a visual as to where they're going to overlap. And if you want to make it a very clean graph, then you don't necessarily have to have this stuff down here. Okay, but you can. So I just want you to know you can do it both ways. But again, on your SOL test, they'll just have where the two overlap one another. Now, you will be asked, like, is 0, 0 a solution? So let's just go back to my graph. And if I say, is this point right here a solution? What would you say?
Yes.
I would say yes, but why? Yes.
Because it is a solution for both of the lines.
Right, because it is in this shaded region. Is that correct?
Yes.
As long as any, and that's why we cannot just write one coordinate as our answer, because all of these coordinates in here would satisfy both inequalities. Okay. Now, what if I asked you this question and I said, would one of these right on this dashed line be a solution? It's not a solution if it's on a dashed line. It would be a solution if the line was solid, because the solid line means you're including all of those points. The dashed line, you're saying you're not including these points on the dashed line. They would not be solutions to both. Okay? All right, let's move on. Okay, let's go ahead and graph the first one. I'm going to start at +1. And then I'm going to go down 1. And then over. And then this is also a dashed line. Since it's less than, it's shaded below. Okay, all of this we already know how to do. And then we'll start with -2. And I'm going to go up 1 over 2. And this is a solid line. And this one is shaded above. Okay, so that means I'm shading above the line. So anything where you see the two colors, okay, that would be here. And again, if you're using a pencil, you would just make that area a lot darker. Okay. All right, any questions so far? All right, let's move on to the third one. In this one, they're not in slope-intercept form, so you would have to solve it for y. I've already solved the first one for y, which is right here. So y is less than or equal to negative 1/3 x plus 3. So I'm going to start at positive 3, and I'm going to go down and over to the right 3. Is this a solid or dashed line? Solid. And since it is less than, we shade below. Okay, and then for the second one, I'm going to go ahead and solve for y. What do you notice about the slopes for both? They're the same. All right, so this one is y is greater than negative 1/3 x minus 2. So I'm going to start at negative 2. And then I'm going to go down 1 over 3. And what types of lines have the same slopes? Parallel. Okay, and this is a dashed line. And this is greater than, so we shade above, which means they will just meet in the middle. Okay, right here. That's it. So I'm going to let you do number 4. Okay, and of course, if you're absent or at home, if you were doing this, you would just write down the problems on some graph paper, since you don't have the foldable, and just follow along. So go ahead and solve these for y. Okay, and then graph them. Okay, solve for y and then graph. I'll give you a minute to do that. All right, so just check your solution, and then we're going to move on to part 2 of our lesson. All right. All right, so part 2 will consist of word problems. So you have a foldable that looks like this. And again, if you're at home, you can just write down and take notes, okay? Now, for this one right here, we already know these two. We have already done the first 2 steps. Remember, in your packets, I only had you define what your variables represented, and then I had you write the 2 equations, but we did not solve them. So really, we're only doing part 3 today, okay? So this one was defined as nickels and quarters, N for nickels, Q for quarters. There's a little typo right here that I need you to change. So this really should read 0.05 N. Should not be a P, because we defined the nickels. Okay, so this should be an N. And then the quarters is, that's worth 25 cents. So that's 0.25 Q. That's right. Now, notice that I did X out this, because now we're talking about word problems. We're not talking about coordinates. So put an X there. The way that you would actually write your final answer, you would say 30 nickels. Okay, let's write it out. And 6 quarters. So I do want words. I don't want coordinates. I don't want N equals 30. Okay, you can definitely have that as part of your solution, but your final statement should be in words, because we are answering word problems. So if it says how many student tickets, don't say S equals 50. You're going to say there are 50, or you could just say 50 student tickets, 10 senior citizen tickets. Okay, so we want words today. I know we don't do a whole lot of words in math, so this is the chance that we do. All right, so let's move on to here. This top part is how we define our variables. Okay, so when it says define variable, this is what it means. Because on your test, I've already looked at, creating the test. When you have word problems, I'm going to say step 1, define the variable. And no one should have to say, what does that mean? That means if you want to use X for carnations and Y for roses, you can do that. Okay, you just have to state what variable represents what in the problem. Okay. Then I'll say write your system of equations. That means write your two equations from the word problem. And then the third step, of course, would be to solve it, because today we're going to actually solve. So it says Brianna sold roses and carnations. So those are your two things. Carnations are sold for, and I'm going to underline some important things, $10 each. Roses are $12 each. And she sold a total of $428. Okay, so notice everything I circled has something in common. What?
Number.
Well, besides the numbers, they had something else. Dollar signs. Okay, so they should all be going together, okay, in one of my equations. This one, 39, does not have a dollar sign. It says items. Well, we already know what our items are. What are the two items I defined? Carnations and roses. Okay, so our two equations would be 10, and this is carnation, so 10C plus 12R equals 428. And my items that I'm selling are carnations, C, and roses, and I have 39 items. So there are your two equations right there. Okay? There are your two equations. Now, I have my system, because I have two equations with two variables. Now I'm going to solve either. You have a choice. So this is where you determine if you want to use the elimination method or substitution method. Doesn't matter. Okay? I'm going to do one of each. So for this one, let's do substitution. And then the next question we'll do elimination. Okay? But it really doesn't matter which one you choose. All right, so I'm going to solve this for C. So if I solve this for C, I'm going to move the R to the other side. So C equals 39 minus R. You don't necessarily have to say negative R plus 39, but you can. Okay, it doesn't matter. Okay, we don't have to worry about things being in slope-intercept form. Okay. All right, it's down. All right, so now where I see the letter C here, I'm going to substitute it with 39 minus R. Okay, that's the substitution method. Okay, and then let's just go ahead and distribute this. So that's 390 minus the 10R plus 12R equals 428. And then we're going to combine the R's together. So I'll have 390 plus 2R equals 428. Subtract 390. So when I subtract 390, what do I get? 18? 38. Okay. And then when I divide, how many roses do I have? 19. So you would say 19 roses. Remember I said we have to use words now. Okay, 19 roses. And then I'm going to go back here to get my carnations. So C equals 39 minus 19. So C equals to 20. So I'm going to put up here 20 carnations. Okay. So don't write a coordinate. This time we're writing words. All right. So at a local farm, there are pigs and ducks. If there are a total of 68 feet and you count 26 heads, how many pigs and ducks are there? All right. So, all right. Now I only have in my problem feet, and then I have the head. So I have to determine, okay, how many feet do we have on a pig? How many feet does a pig have? 4. Okay, so 4. And how many feet do we have on a duck? 2. All right, and that will give us a total of how many feet? 68. So there's my first equation. Okay, they didn't give us the 4 and the 2, but they told us we were dealing with pigs and ducks. We can figure that out. Okay, now Obviously, the two animals that we're talking about are pigs and ducks, and animals don't have two heads, so we can just keep going and say, okay, the pigs plus the ducks have a total of 26 altogether. So a total of 26 animals, and the two animals we're talking about are pigs and ducks. Okay. Now we need to go ahead and solve this. Okay, we need to solve it. So I'm going to do the elimination method this time since I did substitution last time. And so let's eliminate the D's. So if I eliminate the D's, what should I multiply the bottom one by? -2. Okay, so let's do -2. So that'll end up being a -2D. So I'm just going to rewrite the first one exactly like it is. And then I will distribute the -2 to the bottom. Okay, and then I'll just go ahead and add these together. So the D's cancel out. I have 2P equals what's 68 minus 52. All right, 16. And then I divide by 2. So how many pigs do I have? 8. And then you can substitute. I'm going to put over here 8 pigs. And then you could just go back to like maybe this equation right here. No, it's not negative, it's just positive. So I'm going to go back to this equation here since it's a simple one and say 8 plus D equals 26. Subtract 8. So D equals to what? 18. So that will give me 18 ducks. And that's it. Okay. So we're just taking it one step further today so we can get our final answer. So what I would like for you to do is take out your packets, and where we had set up some equations already, I think this is page 5. Go to page 5. And remember, we had put up here, do not solve. Now we're going to scratch out the do not. And now we're going to solve. Okay. All right. So now we're going to solve these. Choice is yours on the variables. So I think the best method to use here would be substitution. Okay. Not substitution, sorry, elimination. So let's just say I wanted to eliminate the 8R. What would I multiply the bottom one by? -2. So like I would probably start off by multiplying everything by -2 so the R's would cancel out. Okay, so this page I'm not going to be doing with you because now you know elimination. You'll be doing this on your own. Okay, same thing for all of these. But guys, please pay attention to the final question. It says, what is the cost of one rose bush and the cost of the ivy? So when you get your two numbers, you're going to use some dollar signs because they're asking for cost. This is the one that a lot of students don't read the actual question. They see vans and buses, and immediately they'll say like 52 vans and 10 buses. That's not the question. The numbers are not vans and buses. The numbers you get, it says find the number of students in each van and each bus. Okay, so when you get 56, it doesn't mean 56 vans. It means there are 56 students or 56, whatever on the bus. So please pay attention to the question so you're answering it correctly. So you're doing 7 through 10 on page 5, and then on page 6 there should be 2 at the bottom. Okay, 5 and 6. All right, so when you're looking at the agenda where it says practice solving word problems on pages 5 and 6, that's what I'm referencing. You're going to get up, check your answers on the chalkboard, and then after that you can either partner up with someone to do the 5 questions on MathSpace, or you can do them individually. Okay, but both people will, it doesn't matter, you still have to show your work for those 5 questions in your spiral notebook. Okay, all right.